Good morning. So today is a bike ride. Yeah, let's start with that. It's almost 8 in the morning. Yeah, it's the best way to wake up. There's so many better way to wake up. Anyway. What am I doing? I do an indoor cycle. Indoor cycle. Okay.
Hey guys, welcome back to the beautiful Swiss Alps. I'm your trainer, Tommy Rivs. We are here in the town of Appenzell, workout number 15 of this 20-part series. Today we have a nice recovery ride, give us a chance to flush out some of that waste from this 3-day climb that we've had over the last 3 days. Just like every workout, we're going to start out with an easy warm-up, nice and slow, work our way through this beautiful little town. And
Flat resistance 13.
Alright, so no focus on cadence right now. Just get those legs moving. Spin nice and easy. Take in the sights and sounds of this beautiful little village of Appenzell. Alright, over the cobbles, through the dogs. Alright, you guys remember this place? We worked our way into this little town at the beginning of this week before this 3-part climb. So remember guys, I stressed really strongly that we needed to make sure that we rode easy enough on that day because we had those 3 climbs. I promise you they'd be tough. I wasn't lying, right? Alright. So same thing today. We're going to work into active recovery mode. That means our intensity will stay light. Our RPE, or rate of perceived exertion, will never exceed a 4 out of 10. And our heart rate will stay right below 77%.
Minus 113.
Here, right past that church. Alright, so a couple of minutes into this, guys, just give yourself a couple of minutes, let those legs shake out, get some blood flowing, let those lungs expand, let that heart beat back and forth. We're going to begin to work our way out of this town, through these little rolling hills, the countryside. We'll be able to see some of those dairy cows, those alpine Swiss cows that are so important for the economy here. We're going to talk a lot about cows today. Lots of really fun stuff. Alright. Alright, I'm going to let you take the lead right here. Go ahead and take in those views. Check out this cool little bridge that goes across this roadway up here. Alright. Taking some deep breaths, guys. Focus your energy in on the task at hand. So this ride that we have, focus in on the right intensity. Remember,
Flat
using
13.
your energy, trusting that process, working smart. smarter rather than necessarily harder. So today is all about helping our body recover. Getting those legs moving, getting blood pumping through our system, flushing out that metabolic waste that accumulates as our cells produce energy. Look at this beautiful architecture, these sights and sounds. Such a magical little town. Guys, remember these big old marshmallows, these bales of hay that are wrapped up? We're going to see more of that as we move through. All right. So as we get out of town, we're going to be able to get better views of this countryside. We'll be able to see these granite peaks, these cliff sides. We'll be able to see the beautiful rolling hills down below, the different layers where the cattle come to graze. Let's expedite this warm up just a little bit. So we're going to do a couple of just quick sprints. Again, we're going to try to keep our intensity level low. So the point of this is not to get us completely, out of our light intensity heart rate zone. Obviously, our heart rate's going to spike for this, but we're only going to hold it for about 10 seconds total. So with the build-up, usually that takes a few seconds. It's really not going to be too strenuous, but it'll get blood pumping. The idea is not necessarily to go anaerobic, it's just to push those muscles just a little bit. So when we come around this corner, when we hit that yellow line, we'll jump up out of the saddle, we'll go for about 10 seconds, just nice and hard, just real quick. Drop back down and spin, we'll do that a few times. Ready, up, and let's go. Nice.
Resistance 17, incline 1.
Remember, perpendicular
10 seconds
there we go.
as hard as you can. Flat 17.
3, 2, 1, and drop back down.
Relax.
Nice and easy.
Resistance 13.
Those legs might have felt a little bit of a burst of just a fiery dull ache in your legs. That's all right. All we're doing
113.
expediting that process, getting blood, push through those legs, spinning nice and easy. I'm gonna hop up here in this little bike path. There we go. Nice and easy. Spin those legs. Right now we're looking for right around 90 with our cadence. Within that acceptable range of 80 to 100.
Flat 13. Cadence 90.
Throughout this, we've got to remember those things. We've got to remember that throughout. But when we start to hit the climbs, we go up into these climbs, what we're going to do is make sure that even though our cadence will drop a little bit, that it stays right around 70, between 60 and 80, with that sweet spot of 70 on those climbs. So guys, let's do another one of those up out of the saddle, little sprints.
Another 10 second push.
All right. All right. So as soon as we hit.
Coming up.
All right, so we're going to do another one of those little sprints. Just 10 seconds. As soon as we get through this roundabout, we'll cross that yellow line, and that'll be our indication to go. All right, ready, and 3, 2, 1, up,
10 seconds.
and let's go.
Resistance 17.
Really drag those legs, push, equal force through both sides. A delicate dance back and forth. 3, 2, 1, and
Relax.
back down into the saddle. Deep breaths. Get that air pumping through your lungs. That air. We talked about this multiple times. Back up. That air carries oxygen. Oxygen is absolutely vital for all of these processes that are taking place in our breathe in, that air comes into our lungs. The oxygen goes and crosses the barrier between the tiny little air sacs in our lungs, crosses over into the little blood vessels. That oxygen is carried into our bloodstream. That oxygen is pumped through our heart, away from our heart, through our arteries, out to our different cells in each of the muscles that we're using. This is nutrients for those cells. They're able to continue to use that in combination with glucose and water. They're able to create energy by way of our mitochondria, again, those powerhouses of our cells, the energy-producing components of our cells. That enables us to have these muscular contractions, really driving this effort. And then after our mitochondria have created that energy, all of those emissions, all of the carbon dioxide that's created is pumped back into our bloodstream, into our veins. And these movements, these muscular movements, massage that blood through those veins, across those one-way valves where they can't return back up to our lungs and heart to be filled again with the nutrients we need and pumped back through our system. So it's a cycle. Right now, expediting that warm-up process, what we're doing is getting blood pumping even quicker through our system. That's carrying more oxygen, more nutrients to our cells that need it. That's priming the neurotransmitter release, the hormone release and production within our bodies, so those feel-good chemicals are produced, serotonin, dopamine, epinephrine, norepinephrine, all of that flowing through our bodies and priming our system, setting us up to have a great workout. Ooh, check out this little train, guys. Seriously, looks like a postcard or something out of a movie, doesn't it? Alright, so right now let's raise that intensity level back up, right, to 77% of our max heart rate. You should have this memorized by now. 77% of your heart rate. Calculate that by taking 220 minus your age multiplied by 0.77. Stick to that, don't go over it. We put in a lot of hard work over these last 2 days. What we want to do is optimize that, allow our bodies the chance to really absorb that training and build a new level of fitness because of that hard work. Nice and easy. And focus. Let's do a cadence check. Make sure we're right at 90. Or within that sweet spot of 70 to 100. 80 to 100 rather. Check in with your mechanics. Make sure that pedal stroke is nice and fluid. Make sure you're pushing down, engaging those quads, the core muscles on the front of your thigh. Make sure that you're scraping your foot as you come along and pulling up with your heel, engaging the hamstrings. Flexing back and forth your ankle muscles into flexion, plantar flexion, dorsiflexion. As you do that, you'll engage the muscles in your lower leg as well. So that anterior tibialis muscle on the front of your shin, as well as the gastrocnemius and the soleus muscles on the posterior side of that lower leg. Look at this, guys. These little kids coming out from school. These kids can't be any more than 5 or 6 years old. You see this all over the place. So these kids are completely independent. I love it. There's probably mixed opinions on it, but I think it's great. The other thing I love about it is that these kids aren't wearing shoes a lot of them.
Incline to resistance 13.
I think they're very advanced, very sophisticated, and the technology, the Swiss engineering, this expectation, this level of presentation, style, and etiquette, all of that. And then you got these little kids walking to school and back without shoes. I just as it's awesome. Okay, let's keep moving, guys. Check out these peaks. These huge granite peaks up there. You're probably bored of hearing geology lessons, but obviously we're going to go up in this U-shaped canyon. These U-shaped canyons and valleys many times are cut out. Some glaciers coming through. But you can see as we get up closer to these peaks is that there's strata, there's layers. So these layers, obviously, they follow the flow, the gravitational force of the earth. So typically they're layered horizontally, but sometimes when there's uplift, because of the shifting of plates or different geological events that take place, it causes these layers that have already solidified to lift up until you get what was once a horizontal layer crystallized, and now it becomes vertical or semi-vertical. And you can see those lines. So we got this beautiful church up on the right that we're going to see. It'll come into view. There's an interesting combination with the history in Switzerland. So we have, initially, there were Celtic tribes which established this country. And then there was the rise of the Roman Empire. With the Roman Empire, there was Catholicism. So Catholicism permeated this area, as did the language, and the people spoke Latin during that Roman time. And then during the revolutions, the Enlightenment periods, the Renaissance periods that took place within Europe, there was a shift, there was a change. Renaissance, it's a French word, renaissance, it means to be reborn. It's a reawakening. Essentially, the views, the perceptions that people had, their views of God, their views of, their entire ideologies, their cosmology shifted. They opened up to the possibility of challenging ideas. And that's when there was a religious reformation that took place. Reformation, break that down, obviously, reformation. So people had these new ideas, and during that time, there was a push in certain areas, Switzerland included, towards Protestant beliefs. Protestant, you break that word down, Protestant. So they were protesting the practices of the Catholic faith that were established and continued during that Roman Empire. Lots of different ideas. John Calvin and Calvinism was really influential in this area. So you saw a rise of these Protestant type churches and a dispute back and forth between the different belief systems that existed between the Catholics and the Protestants. So a lot of these churches have these incredible facades that were painted on the insides of the churches. And some of these Protestant religions, they banned the use of icons, they banned symbols. They didn't want to see those types of things. They thought it was the worship of idols and things like that. And that was the belief system. And so a lot of these incredible facades that were painted in those old Catholic churches, Roman era churches, were stripped, and those churches went from being Catholic cathedrals to Protestant church houses. We can see some of that throughout, this entire journey through Switzerland. We see that change within those church houses. Ooh, deep breath. Let's check in with our cadence, make sure we're right at 90. Check in again with your intensity, no more than 4 out of 10. Check in with your heart rate, 77%, guys, 77% of your max heart rate. This is absolutely magical, guys. Look at these peaks. You can see that strata, those layers. You can see where the glacier came through and literally carved its way through, leaving these scars on those granite peaks. Alright, we're going to hop over right here, back on this right path. So a quick little bit of advice. When you go out, when you decide to ride out of the house, whether you're by yourself or you're with a group, if there's a bike path in place next to the road, always take the bike path. If you you're going to have motorists super agitated, and rightfully so. Typically in situations like that, if they have a bike path established, if it's not, a running path, but it's actually set up for cycling, always take that bike path. At the end of the day, the likelihood of getting wet is decreased if you're off the same path as a motorist. So it doesn't matter who's right or who's wrong. If it's a competition between, 150-pound cyclist and a 20-pound bike against a 5,000-pound or 10,000-pound rig, that rig is always going to win. Every single time, guys. Just basic physics. So as you're riding in that peloton, you saw me just peel off to the right. You came up on my left. That's the way that peloton flows. So the rider in the front, who's out there cutting the wind, is able to peel off, and keep that lead. The rider peels off, works his way to the back, jumps on the wheel of the tail rider, and that continues. So you don't take a harder pull at the front, you just take a consistent pull at the front. So you go ahead, you pull in front of me, and then after you've taken that pull, whether it's just a few seconds or even a couple of minutes, you'll peel off to the right, and the rider in front of you, he's not increasing his speed. Hold that thought. You'll peel off to the right. The rider in front of you does, or the rider beside you doesn't have to increase his speed. You slow down your speed, and then that rider comes back up and resumes the lead. So that's how that flows. It's always from front to back. It's never from back to front. So when I was a young punk kid, I thought I could ride with these cyclists, and I was in good shape. I was a runner. I spent a lot of time cross-training on a bike. Wanted to really push my body, push those limits. I realized that if I spent time on a bike, I could work my aerobic system without putting a ton of stress through my joints, my structures, my connective tissues. It enabled me to get extra horsepower without breaking down the structures in my body. But what I didn't know is that being able to push energy on a bike was only one part of being able to be welcomed into a group. I didn't understand the importance of etiquette, and there were times where I cringe when I think back on it now. There were times when I was riding with a group and I thought that the pace was too slow, so I jump up out of the saddle like some brash punk little kid, and I'd come up along the side and I'd break away, and I'd try to break away from the group as if it was a challenge. I didn't understand the mentality of that peloton working together. Every single time I get up in the front on my own, and that peloton working together would always catch me. I'd drop off the back. I'd ride by myself in the front. I'd get dropped and then have to finish by myself in the back. So it wasn't until I realized the etiquette, the importance of working as a group, that unity, that collective strength, that cohesion that takes place as everybody is collectively working towards that common goal. There's a strength that's fostered, relationships are increased. We've got a really tight bond within that group of cyclists. If you don't follow those rules, if you put each other in danger, if you don't follow that etiquette, I promise you'll be ousted. I promise they'll kick you out, or they'll make you feel like crap so you don't want to go back. Make sure, stick to that etiquette, respect that, respect your fellow riders, and it'll be a little bit of a learning curve, but things will go a lot smoother if you make sure to do that. Alright guys, we're going to continue working up through these peaks. Check out just that change of scenery. So just in that short little time, coming from the beautiful architecture of that little town up into these peaks. Let's go ahead and stay on this path. We're going to go right. Okay, let's check in with our cadence. We're going to start to climb just a little bit. So if our cadence drops down to right around
Incline
70,
2, resistance
that's
13.
just fine. It's completely expected. Make sure that it stays within that optimal range of 60 to 80.
Incline 4, resistance 13.
So make sure that your intensity or your effort level doesn't change. Make sure it stays
-1,
right at 77% of your max.
resistance
I'm
13.
going to stand up for a second. My tail is hollering at me. Go ahead and stand up if you need. Give your tail a rest.
Flat.
Ooh. Stretch out those legs. Engage those muscles in your shoulders. What you want to do when you're standing is the combination of flexing your elbow and then straightening back up so your shoulder is stable.
Just to change
The motion
position.
comes through your elbows with your body shifting back and forth that way. Alright. Okay guys, I promised you we were going to talk about cows. This might seem odd to some people, but cattle are really dear to my heart. So I grew up in agricultural towns where there were dairies, there were farms. I grew up working for cowboys and ranchers, spending lots of time around livestock. And, you know, a lot of times people think that the treatment is inhumane, and sometimes it 100% is. But there are other times where you're working close with these cattle, you literally develop relationships with them. You know them, you know their temperament, you see them from the time they're little babies, when they grow up, whether they become dairy cows or steers, or they become big old bulls. You're able to sense that temperament. You learn what to do around them and what not to do around them. I got tossed by a cow that was a couple years old when I was about 15, and it threw me, flipped over, I landed on my back, herniated a couple of discs. That's something almost on a daily basis, as I've learned to manage that back pain. And I remember that experience. It's left a mark on me that is difficult to forget. But you know, if I was that cow in the same situation that it was in, I would do absolutely the same thing. So, this little village that we climbed up out of.
Incline 1.
Remember, that's also the name of the canton, or the geographical region in this area. It's the smallest of all of the different Swiss cantons. Guys, real quick, we've got a little fence. We're going to hop up our bikes and make it through the steep spinning, just a couple of steps over the fence. Alright guys, so keep working.
Incline 2.
We're going to start working up pretty steep climb. And that's totally fine. Our geometry changes, our intensity stays the same. So as we hit this climb, our cadence may drop way down as the resistance increases. Way down even below 70.
Incline 13.
In these situations, it's okay. That's as low as our bike
Resistance
can go
4.
in terms of the way the gearing is set up. So when that situation takes place, what that means is that those revolutions are smaller, even though that incline is increased, and we're keeping our heart rate right at 77%.
I see.
We're working those muscles in a different way. Remember when I talked about the neurophysiology, those neuromuscular exchanges that take place in the patterns? Those are
Have to
time
move it
sensitive,
forward little the bike.
meaning cadence sensitive. So the speed or the RPMs at which we move are different. 40 RPMs is very different in terms of neurology, neuromuscular patterns compared to 90 RPMs. This is like the weight room for our legs. So we can work those legs muscularly without.
I have to move my bike
We
forward.
can work those legs muscularly without having to increase our heart rate too much. So this cadence, again, is going to drop way down. Try to keep the motion of those legs fluid. So back and forth, equal pressure on both sides as we move up. Go.
Yeah.
Nice and tall. Stay strong. Keep that chest up.
Yeah. Incline
Alright,
16.
let's check in with our heart rate right now.
Okay.
Make sure that we are no more than
Resistance 2.
77.
Incline 16. I have to move because it was hitting the.
Our intensity is no more
I forgot how it's called in English.
than
Incline
4 out
17.
of 10 on our RPD. I'm going to try to avoid any of those gravel or rocks like this. It can cause us to peel out.
Incline 4. Resistance 12.
Let's see what we can do, guys. So keep moving. Same intensity. So if you're in a situation like that, and you're up out of the saddle, and you get to gravel, if you stay up out of the saddle, you don't have weight over that back wheel. That back wheel is your accelerator. When you take the weight off that back wheel, it's like having a rig or a truck in the winter, but you don't have something weighting it down. So you'll see people will throw bags of sand. Where I grew up, they throw bales of hay in the back of their rigs, the back of their trucks during the winter, so that those trucks, which were back wheel drive, wouldn't peel out when you hit the ice and the snow. Same thing is true.
Incline 2. Resistance 13.
So it's typically not something we have to take into consideration if we're on a pure road bike, staying on asphalt, but it's something that's always taken into consideration if you're on a mountain bike, or if you're on a gravel bike, or a cyclocross bike. You keep your weight over that back wheel. So that you
Incline
can
4.
continue
Resistance
to
12.
generate force. If you stand up, that wheel will peel out because your weight is dispersed over your front and your back. All right, guys. Check in with an intensity.
Flat 13.
Just try and keep the same intensity, even though that cadence may drop way down on these climbs. Nice and easy. Check in with that heart rate, guys. Don't let that heart rate go over 77%.
Incline 3.
That may mean
Resistance
that
12.
your cadence drops way, way down. And that's totally okay. Push, slowly push. Maintain that resistance. These muscles, this time under tension, driving those muscular contractions in slow motion. It's like a weight room for your legs. Slowly working each of those systems. What that does is it takes the momentum factor out. And it makes it so you have to focus specifically on muscular force coming during that entire revolution. So this is something that cyclists do.
Incline 12.
Specific training workout.
Resistance 4.
Yeah, stop for a second. I'm going to jump up out of the saddle. Nice and easy. Continue to move up.
Incline 15. Resistance 3.
Guys, you may hear the distant sound of bells as we get higher and higher up. What this
Higher and higher,
these are the
baby.
cowbells. These big Swiss Alp cowbells, which are incredibly iconic for the area. These giant decorated leather straps and these big bells. Some of them can cost up to $2,000 a piece, and they can weigh up to 10 pounds. It's a way of essentially blinging out their cattle. It's an icon. It's a status symbol. These farmers will spend literally fortunes.
Incline 8. Resistance 9.
And having this decorative, iconic element for the cows up here. These dairy cows, they come up into these higher pastures to eat during the summers. Again, they're milked, boom. And during the summers, a lot of times that milk is turned into cheese because it's a way of preserving it. Tastes good. It's also easier to transport. And then during the winter months, it's used more primarily just for milk because it draws it down.
Incline
to
10,
lower elevation.
resistance 7.
Alright, let's keep moving. Nice and tall.
Incline 14, resistance 4.
Again, don't worry too much about the cadence right now. Focus more on your effort level and your heart rate. Whoa. Absolutely amazing. These are pastures up here for these cattle.
Incline 18, resistance 2.
Where I want to be. Nice and easy. Keep climbing up.
This is a recovery right
Look
there.
at that heart rate, guys. Look at it right now. It's possible, believe it or not, to do a recovery ride, even
Incline 19,
a steep incline. As
resistance
long
2.
as you keep your heart rate or your intensity level low enough. That's the key, guys. Don't worry about cadence on this. Focus on your heart rate and your intensity level. Let's keep moving. Nice and easy. Keep climbing up. Alright, so up here, off to the right, we're going to see one of those big Swiss cows. Listen close. See if you can hear that bell. Every time he moves his head to eat, that bell sounds. Nice and relaxed. Keep moving up. Easy breathing, guys. Check in with that intensity. Make sure your heart rate is no more than 77% of your max, and that intensity level is no more than 4 out of 10. Alright, so let's keep climbing.
Incline 5, resistance 11.
Work up this tiny little alpine lake. Keep that intensity on it.
Oh man.
Active recovery. Really working strength component of those legs.
Flat 13.
Deep breaths. Drop back down into the saddle. Really push. Nice and easy. Okay, so the really cool thing about the cattle industry here, it's such an iconic component of Swiss culture that these farmers, they choose to spend their time in the mountains with their cattle producing the cheese and the milk rather than working in areas that would be more lucrative. But here's the catch. The Swiss government, they pay subsidies to these farmers where each cow receives right around $5,000 a year. And then on top of that, the farmers are able to take the cost, or the profit rather, from their production of milk and cheese. So they choose this almost as a lifestyle where the cows are worth that much money annually from the government. It's not uncommon to see the families out here working. It's said that the families, if there are multiple children, they bicker and fight over who's going to be able to inherit the cows and inherit this style of life, living up in these incredible places. Doesn't sound like a bad gig to me.
Climb 1, resistance 13.
These stunning peaks.
Incline 6, resistance 9.
This has got to be the most incredible place ever to be free range dairy cow. Alright, check out these cows, guys.
Incline 4, resistance 10.
Listen, you hear those bells? Alright. So this area is known as Siopsy. Look over there to the left, we've got that big old mama cow right at the entrance to that restaurant. Good security system. Nobody's gonna come or go.
-1, resistance 13.
You made it. So I want you to take that intensity level back down. All that hard work is done. Even though this is active recovery, even though our intensity was light, it can still feel like work. Sometimes the hardest part is going easy enough rather than pushing hard enough. So we're going to work our way around this lake. Check out these incredible views, guys. So right now, pat yourself on the back. We are deep into the recovery component of this ride. Nice and easy, cool down. Check out this cow here off to the right. Alright, keep moving those legs. And all of that metabolic waste that we've accumulated throughout this week, as well as right now on this ride, continue to be flushed out. Little bit at a time, nice and easy. So we really kept our cadence low on that thing because of how steep that climb was. So if right now, if you want to increase that cadence just a little bit, great job all the way there to the end, sticking it through this point. Thank you for trusting me. Thank you for keeping that intensity level low. Do everything you can to recover from now. And the next point, next time we see each other, we're going to get in another recovery ride to prime this week, this next week, and then we're going to do another series, another 3-part climb, just like we have before. Guys, incredible work. I'm your trainer, Tommy Ribs, and I'll see you next time.
-43 minutes, 10.12 mile. ridiculous. I'm sweating like a... Okay, let's go to work. Let's go to work. Can't really do anything. I have a shoulder tendons. It's just awful. I do physio, I do exercises. It seems like a bullshit doesn't work. Okay, anyways, let's have a great day. We can do that, no problem.